Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of the Fishing Teacher, and man, I really appreciate you guys checking today's video out. Thanks for swinging by. Guys, today we're going to give tips and advice on how to catch bass off of riprap banks in the wintertime, because you know riprap is good all year long. It's especially good under certain conditions in the winter, and there's a certain there's some certain approaches that you can make to it to really increase your success. So we're going to go over that in today's video. And also, guys, if you hadn't had a chance to subscribe here to the Fishing Teacher, I'd like to invite everybody to hit that subscribe button. That would be much appreciated. And also, I got a bunch of really cool links in the description of the video. If you guys are interested in purchasing tackle or helping the channel out, it's a good way to do it by visiting those links. So much appreciated. Okay, guys, I love fishing riprap, and it's sort of odd because I normally don't like fishing type of areas that get a lot of fishing pressure, and probably I'm gonna guess riprap, guys, it gets more fishing pressure than about any other type of structure out there. But also I think it probably holds more bass under a lot of different conditions than any structure out there. Riprap is an awesome structure to fish. Provides a lot of diverse cover for the fish. Usually there's some deep water access to it. There's a lot of different type of animals in the food chain that live on riprap. You got crawdads, minnows, insects, just everything out there uses those rocks out there. So they're really good structures to fish. So what I want to talk about today is how to approach these in the months of like November through February, the colder weather months, because there's certain windows that you need to think about as far as what's going to make riprap more productive than others. The first thing, guys, is, and this sounds a little bit off as far as wintertime fishing, is you don't want to find riprap that's in too clear of water. If you have riprap that is in water visibility like greater than 5 feet, I just don't do that good in it. It seems like to me I need that water visibility on riprap in the wintertime to be sort of in that 2 to at the very most 4 foot range. If you could give me one ideal color, it would be like 2.5 to 3 feet would be perfect visibility. And there's a lot of lakes that fall into this, but the thing about it is riprap a lot of time is located throughout different parts of the lake, whether it be like bridge riprap, overpasses, residential riprap, dam riprap, whatever. So normally you can find a diversity in water clarity. So try to locate some riprap that, has got that type of water clarity on it. The next thing, guys, in the wintertime is you need to have riprap that is got some pretty deep water close to it. And that's why my favorite type of riprap in the wintertime is any type of a bridge overpass that has riprap on it, because normally those bridge overpasses are over creek channels that have deeper water. So you've got the riprap there, and then right close to it you've got the deep water of the creek channel, you got the bridge abutments, and also you got current funneling through there. Anytime you have like some type of a bridge riprap that narrows down, there's always some current that comes through there that's generated by wind or just natural current. So there's a lot of positives for the fish to be there. A lot of life, a lot of stuff moving on through there. So ideally, I like to be on a riprap bank that, say for example, if my boat is maybe 10 foot off of the riprap bank, I'm in 7 to 10 foot of water, fairly sharp drop with there. In the wintertime, those riprap banks that are real flat that come off them usually aren't quite as good. So try to find a good break or good drop off on them. The next thing is technique on there. I have found out in the wintertime there's 3 primary techniques that really work good, and this is based upon your water temperature and your water clarity. In the wintertime, you're dealing with water temperatures of varying degrees depending upon what part of the country you're in. But here's my advice for it. If you have water temperatures in the 40s on your riprap, probably the best lure that you're going to have is a small jerkbait. Not a full-size jerkbait or big one, but a small jerkbait like that Megabass X80 or that Nanahan, something finessey like that. And I like to get the boat about 10 foot off the bank, and I make a long parallel cast down that riprap, and I try to target sort of that 5 to 10 foot zone. That is the perfect zone for a lot of fish to be in there. Another thing about riprap and jerkbait fishing is you can have some suspended fish out off the riprap, but most of the time those fish are going to be living down there in those rocks, so they're going to be coming up on the bait. So if I have water temperatures in the 40s and I got water visibility 3 to 4 feet, that little small jerkbait is probably my #1 choice there. And also your high percentage areas on the riprap are always going to be any irregular features or any points that the riprap makes, although you can catch them on the straight part. So there's fish that live all over them, but there are high percentage areas. Now the next situation is if you have water visibility, or excuse me, if you have water temperatures that are starting to get up into the upper 40s and into the low 50s, which is common also, that is going to open up two different techniques. It's going to open up some type of a crankbait and then some type of a slow bait like a Ned rig or a finesse jig. Those are going to be my three primary lures, guys, is a jerkbait, a crankbait, and then some finesse bottom bait like a finesse jig or a Ned rig. So if you've got water temperatures that are closer to 50 degrees, low 50s, you're going to find out that crankbait can be really productive. Now, my favorite color crankbait for riprap in the wintertime is a shad pattern. A lot of guys like crawdad a little bit later in the year, but when that water's cold, like at its coldest point, guys, I get a lot more bites on a shad pattern, especially if you can have a shad pattern that has sort of like a translucent shad, not like a bright pearl, but like a translucent. Works really good with that. One of my favorite lures for that is that old Lure Jensen speed trap. I've caught a bunch of fish cranking riprap on that thing in the wintertime. That's going to be real good when the water temperature's in the low 50s. And then in that same scenario, guys, a little like a green pumpkin or brown finesse jig, like a 5/16 ounce with like a zoomed little critter craw on it or something, or a Ned rig fished real slow on that riprap is going to be really good ways to catch them. But don't pass it up, man. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they're getting a lot of fishing pressure. Winter is a great time to fish riprap, and a lot of times there's going to be windows during the day that those fish bite good on a riprap. And for me, most of the best time to fish them is sort of like, you know, from 11 o'clock to like maybe 2 o'clock. That's when your prime period is going to be. And it helps if you got just a little puff of wind, not like windy, but just something to break up the surface, and maybe some type of a not fully cloudy but heavy overcast, like sort of how we have today out there. You see how it's sort of got the cirrus clouds that you got a lot of overcast, but you still got 20%, you know, blue skies. That's sort of an ideal scenario with it. Anyway, guys, don't pass them up in there. Just get you a little jerkbait, little crankbait, little jig, something like that. Fish slow and methodically. One of the things, another piece of advice I'll give you on riprap is don't slop through it. Those fish on riprap, guys, are highly educated. They get a lot of fishing pressure, and you can't slop through it. You got to be slow and methodical. Take your time. Stay quiet on the trolling motor. Try to keep your noise down, and you can catch some good fish this time of year on it. So hope it helps out. We'll see you guys later.